In 1977, symphonic jazz-funk super ensemble, the Mysterious Flying Orchestra, released their singular self-titled album on RCA Victor, and from it, the Lonnie Liston Smith composition, Shadows. F sharp. Okay, we have like this circular bass ostinato in F sharp, being encircled by liquidy, diamondy keyboards. And now we're being flanked by beautiful music, strings, violins, very large section on here, including Gene Orloff. Very slow groove mover. I was initially thinking that, like, knowing this track from Lonnie himself did it a couple of years earlier. But I was thinking this track had a similar feel to Bubbles by Herbie Hancock, except that was more lucid. This is more slow groove. Yeah, just the vibe of sunsets, of orange, red, dark skies, and sea, tide and all that. Okay, and we were hearing some saxophone work from two saxes credited. Okay, on trumpet, John Faddis and Lou Soloff, both of whom released solo material around this time, and credited on sax, Steve Marcus and Bob Mincer. Yeah, and that is Lonnie Liston Smith himself giving us those liquidy keyboard Fender tones. And the bass work of Wilbur Bascom. I love this key change right here. Yeah, the one different chord I think we hear in the track, it would be it sounds like D minor, but it would have to be it would have to be the relative minor though of F sharp is E flat minor. Oh, hear the way those keyboards are just the slight kind of like wah tinged change of tone, like wah. And the kind of shimmer of those strings. Those sparkling glissandos he throws in. much color. It's let's see. Other players, we have 9 violinists on this track, including, let's see, Doreen Callender, Harry Lukowski, Julian Barber, Max Ellen, Noel DaCosta, uh, Selwart Clark. Yeah, I don't recognize any of these names offhand, other than Gene Orloff. But yeah, I imagine that these might be. I was about to say RCA kind of in-house team, but okay, now we're hearing some of the horns coming in. Yeah, these violinists have lengthy resumes on Discogs. Like going back as far as like one of them, Joseph Malignaggi, going back to the early 1960s. Julian Barber, viola player, was in orchestra. Was in Pond Life, the Pond Life Orchestra, and played on albums. Oh, played on Hermeto Pascual's 1970 Hermeto album. Yeah, I did a track from that a few months ago. Played on an album by the Main Ingredient, Marlena Shaw, Bobby Hutcherson, Van McCoy, Bobby Humphrey, Alice Coltrane, The Moments. Yeah, a few others I've covered the last year. Now that could be Steve Marcus right there. Yeah, and Steve Marcus put up some really good albums in the late '60s, post-bop vein, and then in 1976 had a really good comeback album. And yeah, Steve Marcus is the guy who wrote the sax riff that was later appropriated by Jerry Rafferty in Baker Street. Yeah, it was on a track off his 1968 debut album, Tomorrow Never Knows. I think the track Half a Heart. I love the way that sax is just you know swirling around that bass line. And the rising light of those strings, almost like kind of like luminous light over like around a dark corner. The strings really, I think, benefit from the influence that was coming out of the disco production scene of the time. The way that strings would have this kind of dark luminosity to them and would just kind of like flower up at certain moments. I like how it's being employed and mixed here. Like, as a matter of fact, this seems to be like a melding of elements from like the jazz funk, the cosmic funk world, like of Lonnie Liston Smith, and the beautiful music, easy listening that was making a return around this time via disco. And you know, part of the beauty in and part of the hypnotic quality of this is that bass line just never lets up. It's just so consistent throughout. Even when they change, that one key change in the track, all they do is just kind of alter a few notes to accommodate the different key center. Those glissandos amid the swelling strings. I love how the bassist, like, he'll every now and then he'll just kind of like hit one of the strings with his thumb, or so it sounds like. He'll throw in that like harder note. Usually just as we're heading towards that key change. Hear those chimes, those little metals. Oh, I love the kind of echoey quality of those Fender notes. The strings bring kind of like an element of the Percy Faith orchestration of the 1950s, up to date for the late 1970s. I love how Lonnie Liston Smith seems to be playing kind of randomly throughout the piece. Like a lot of this is just, I'll play like kind of like slow one moment. I'll do little droplets for another few bars. I'll throw in some glissandos here. I'll throw in some faster fills here, and it just all works. Just knowing what kind of knowing the range of notes you can use within the key center. Yeah, there's also that mixture of like random playing from certain instruments and then really structured playing in certain other areas, particularly the bass and the interjections of the symphonic backing. More cymbal miss toward the end. That was Shadows by the Mysterious Flying Orchestra, a jazz funk orchestral supergroup assembled for one album released on RCA Victor in 1977. This track, written by Lonnie Liston Smith, who plays Fender, arranged by Horace Ott, cello by Kermit Moore, Donald Devon, congas by Lawrence Killian. I've looked that one up recently because his name is purple. His link is purple rather than blue. Drums by Charles Collins. Guitar Jerry Friedman. Percussion Guilherme Franco. Viola Al Brown. And that mentions pretty much everyone. I think we got about 20 different hands on this track. And arranger pianist Horace Ott has 685 writing arrangement credits according to Discogs, and 270 going back to the late 1950s, the likes of Cab Calloway and the Shirelles, 1960 thereabouts. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. One of many big like multi-art, like collaborative efforts, like kind of like industry all-star super projects to come out in 1977. And they were across the spectrum. I mean, I think of this, and I also think of some of those albums that, like Mike Batt was putting together. I think of the Intergalactic Touring Band, assembled by Passport Records. I think of like the Mandela Band, or that was the following year. Yeah, Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. Yeah, yeah. The late '70s seems to be the period of super projects where you would get a lot of recording artists together to, yeah, pull their talents and such. And oftentimes to fantastic results. Anyway, for more, and I did another track from this months ago. I did the side B ballad. There once was a man named John, dedicated to John Coltrane. That had a really sexy vocal on it too. That was a vocal track with Teresa Brewer. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, go look that one up on my channel. Anyway, for more rubies and sapphires from the Mysterious Flying Orchestra album, see the directory of albums by American jazz funk artists linked in the description below for red hot tracks and purples from uh, over 520 some odd jazz funk albums from the 1970s and early to mid 1980s, including artists like Charles Earland and Lonnie Liston Smith, Lonnie Smith, Wayne Shorter, Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Alphonse Mouzon, the whole. Anyway, like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the track we just heard. The interplay, the composition, the layers, the sounds, the nuances, the sonorities. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled Trimax, signing off.